Hello, friends. In today's Do This Today episode, I'd like to relate a little tiny story, a little storyette, if there is such a word, and if there isn't, there is now, that Swami Kriyananda told a few times during lectures that he gave over the years. He related a story that was told to him by a young man who, when he was growing up, his mother, when he got home from school, instead of asking him, "So, how was school today? What did you learn?" Blah, 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 would ask him, "Did you ask any good questions today?" And it's a fascinating line of questioning because it puts the onus on the boy, and by extension, this is going to be our assignment today, is to ask some good questions of life. But it put the onus on him because, of course, tomorrow and the next day, a similar question is going to come at the end of the day. Did you ask any good questions today? Because when you ask a good question, you have a fighting chance of getting a good, intelligent answer. In fact, Swami related in similar connection to this story, he said, learning to ask the right question means you're at least halfway towards the solution to whatever it is that you're struggling with or trying to overcome. Or in fact, trying to learn. And so all of us, now, we live in an era where you can go on the internet and you can ask your question, to the whole universe. You can ask it to some particular chat group that's interested in that topic. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to ask your question, but you don't have to rely on technology. Technology is amazing. I mean, many of us in my era used to have to go to the library, used to have to go to the encyclopedia, used to have to go find the expert, which was not always very easy to do. And in order to ask our question, now we have access to those things at our fingertips. In fact, I was reading just recently a story of a woman who went and spent a week out on an island by herself off the coast of Sweden, and essentially just had a stack of movies to watch for the week, but no cell phone, no laptop, no internet connection. And she said there was a bit of a withdrawal factor in it all because she was used to being able to ask all kinds of questions. So I'm not talking about the restless kind of question, but all of us have significant questions. And it's helpful to learn how to frame those questions. So do this today. Ask a good question. You can ask it to God. You can ask it to the sky or the wind. You can ask it to the Divine Mother. You can ask it to a person who may know more than you know. But ask a good question today because there's a darn good chance that you'll get a good answer. And even if you don't get a good answer, or any answer at all that you can understand yet, the fact that you asked the question means ultimately you will have to get an answer. And not just an answer that sort of, goes in one ear and out the other, or an answer that isn't terribly relevant, or isn't what you wanted to hear. An answer that ultimately satisfies your heart. That's the ultimate trajectory of this particular little activity. But it's just a good idea in life to hold out the questions that motivate us, that animate our lives. Hold them up to the divine. Hold them up to the light. These are questions you can't really type into a search window on the internet. But whatever question motivates, it could be even just something very practical. Ask a good question today, or perhaps more than one. Namaste.